Hey guys, Sebastian here, and today I will be doing a review on The Legend by Synapse Audio. They were kind enough to hand me this synth for a video. Thank you, Synapse. Um, I did do a video on this synth before, but that was the rack extension one. I did a 30-day demo of it, and that video is not very good, so I want to do it justice with a new review. And so let's get started. So the Legend is basically a emulation of the Moog Mini Moog Model D. Very nice synth from the 70s. Worked its way up into music. A lot of people used it. Had a lot of characteristics due to the ladder filter that really made a lot of funky kind of sounds. So let's start by initializing this patch, and let's go through it. So we have our pitch band, our mod wheel right here. We'll be coming back to our mod wheel in a while. Our controls are basically a glide and a mod mix. We'll be talking about this with the Oscillator 3. Then you got your tuning, your fine tune, and your coarse tune, so you can bring this up an octave, bring it down an octave globally, which is really cool. We got our output over here with a effects switch, which you can turn on the reverb and the delay that you have access through this button right here, which brings you to the back panel. Voicing, we have a mono mode, which is what the Mini Moog basically had. It wasn't really a polyphonic synthesizer. Then we have a poly 4 mode, which is a 4 voice poly mode, and the original lacked that. And then we have this unison right here, which basically brings a nice stacked unison sound. You cannot play chords with this at all, which is pretty cool. You can make some nice re-spaces and stuff with that. So we're to our oscillators. This is not like Devit or any of those other synths that you can crossfade into shapes with. This is a fixed shape. So if you want something in between these shapes, well, they're sticking to the original, so you got up to 7 shapes to choose from, including our triangle wave, the shark tooth wave, which is basically just a triangle and a saw together. We got this ramp up saw, just really nice. I'm gonna bring that down a little bit. And we got this up saw, which has a bit of a darker tone to the ramp up saw. Then we got our pulses, we got our square, and our I'd say half square, and then our narrow square or pulse. We got this range right here, which is really cool. You can set it to low, and you can get some really low values in the tone. You got your 32, just different octaves you can work with. Okay, so that basically goes for all these other oscillators, but oscillator 3 is a bit unique compared to oscillator 1 and 2. You can actually frequency modulate oscillator 1 and the filter with it by turning this oscillator on. So and bring up the mod wheel. So you can really just use this to kind of beef up the tone of oscillator 1, which is really cool. You can also use oscillator 3 to modulate the filter as a low frequency oscillator. Or you can basically just FM. Okay. So next what we're gonna do is we're going to look at the filter. And we're gonna build a sound and look at some patches. So you can put all your oscillators in this mixer right here. So let's initialize one more time. So you can just stack oscillators, you know, even build chords out of this, which is really neat. That was the old way of doing things. You have a choice of white noise and pink noise, just like the original. Let's see how that sounds. And another cool thing is you can actually use the noise instead of the third oscillator to modulate the filter or os. So bring this down to 16. So you can sound like a broken radio, and on the filter which is really cool. So we're gonna switch this to a square or a pulse wave. We're gonna bring this cutoff down and draw a little envelope shape right here. So this filter is a ladder filter. It emulates the Minimoog filter, and it sounds very close. So we can use this feedback, which kind of gives it a more juicy sound to it. And what else we can do is we can key track the cutoff and the resonance. we have a choice of 12 dB or 24 dB, a low pass or a band pass. Which is really cool. You can use a band pass. I don't think the band pass was in the original. I might be wrong though. We'll stick to our low pass though. And you can drive the feedback in the filter with this, which I believe this is unique to the Legend. I don't think there was a way to drive the Mini Moog. I might be wrong. You can let me know in the comments. It's a very nice sound indeed. And we can even bring this to be 4-voice polyphonic mode. As you hear, the spread basically spreads all the voices, like I explained earlier. And then we have this unison mode, which is pretty nice. Let's try with the so you can get some really beefy, nasty tones out of this in terms of bass. So this is the back of the synth, which is pretty cool. You can control your modulation right here. Very nice. Your pitch range. Of course, you have a choice between a late model or early model. They both have a different sound to them. Kind of, the late model sounds a bit dark, and I think the early model, the filter sounds a bit more bright. We have this performance right here, which is a little small matrix, which is pretty cool. You can do your velocities and your aftertouches and your foot expression and timbre, which is pretty cool. So we got our delay and our reverb, and trust me, these sound really good. Synapse is known to make really good effects. You see my Dune 3 review, you know that Synapse are good at making effects. So we'll make a little pluck sound here. Okay, so turn our effects on. And you have your delay right here. You got your time, your feedback, your width, and your dry and wet knob right here, which you can mix between. Then you got your reverb. The reverb's really good. You can also saturate the amplifier, which is pretty cool. And then you got your filter control right here, the symmetry, just basically how the filter reacts, the cutoff range, the resonant range, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's basically the Legend. Now let's go through some patches and we'll be on our way. So and that's a taste of the factory library that comes with the Legend. Um, project ready presets right out of the box, if that's your thing. All those patch Arthurs are very, very good at what they do. So, yeah, this is the Legend. I hope you enjoy.